Hey everyone, this is GeoWill from Productions², and we are here this evening to record the footage for our 9th developers vlog for Combine Insurrection. Actually, I'm re-recording this. I had it recorded once, and it turns out that, unbeknownst to me, somehow Playclaw had gotten set to record the, how should I get them to check right now again anyway, I've been set to record to MKV files. Okay, good. And for whatever reason, I don't know what it is, every feature they seem to put in a Playclaw has to go through a 10-stage process to get it working or something. But it's a brand new feature, I guess, with the latest version of Playclaw, and it doesn't work at all. Well, it works, but if your file size is over a certain amount, it'll completely corrupt the entire file, and you won't be able to use it. And that's what happened here, in this case. I'd recorded this huge, I think it was like 3.5 to 4 hour thing, going through the process of adding, switching over to SDK 2013, and going through the process of actually getting the code workable and all that, and fixing some bugs and some mapping, and then turning around and finding out all that footage was bad, and I couldn't even find any program that could convert them because the files were just totally trashed. So we're having to redo it. Let me go ahead and close this. This is my kitty coin miner. Mining that while waiting for Dogecoin's difficulty to drop a little bit, and also till I get my new computer so I can do a double system mine on my Dogecoin mining pool that well, actually I have two of them, Shiba pool and nonstop mining are the two Dogecoin pools I'm signed up with at the moment. But yeah, plus kitty coin's so much easier to mine at the moment. You could easily get 100,000 in about half a week if you just have basic 2-card setup with 7970s like what I have. But anyway, enough about cryptocurrencies. So what I'm gonna be doing now is just kind of going over, rehashing, I guess, a little bit of what I did, and kind of go through some of the code, I guess. One program first I want to go into a little tirade not related to modding or anything that have to do with CI, and that is with rechargeable batteries. Now, I'm not talking about your cheap-ass rechargeable AA batteries that you can get like from the 90s or whatever. I'm talking about NIHM, I think is what they're, rechargeable batteries. Let me see. Yeah, nickel metal hydride batteries. NIMH, I guess. The kind of like that you have in today's electronics that have rechargeable batteries, like my Logitech G700, for example, came with a NIMH battery. But if you have anything like that, and you want to get, and the battery either losing its ability to hold charges, or you just want to get a better battery, I have to throw out a shout out to Lenmar. They make an awesome AA rechargeable battery. Let me see. Can't read anything because there's no light in here. Let's see. Looking for the voltage. That's the 1.2 volts. Yeah. 1.2 volt rechargeable AA battery they make. I recently had to get some of these because my Sanyo Loop rechargeable battery that came with the mouse stopped holding its charge for very long. It would charge really quick and then lose its charge within the same amount of time, like maybe recharge in 30-45 minutes and then lose its charge in about an hour and a half to 2 hours. These batteries, though, damn. I just put in one of these Lenmar batteries a couple days ago. It took a while to charge, but it took about, it lasted for about, I think 18, no, more than that, 32 hours, I believe. Actually lost count after a while. It lasted past 24 hours on a single charge with my mouse here, which is pretty damn good. So, just kind of a shout out to anyone that's thinking about getting a rechargeable set of rechargeable batteries for anything. Go with Lenmar. Get this damn case close again. Excuse me. Because they make a damn good battery. But as I was saying now, there's a program I've been using for quite a while called Araxis Merge. And it just does what it says. It actually will allow you to merge different files together, in other words, compile changes together into one or the other file. And I've been using this for years for GORO, our Ragnarok Online server. Or at least I was until I stopped actively working on it. But up until that point I was using it to merge changes that I had made in the code into the new server versions that were being released. So I thought that'd be a perfect thing to use for this application of changing from getting the changes from our previous source code into 2013, the Source SDK 2013. And so essentially this is how it works. I'm just going to go through and pick a couple of files here. This is in the actual source mods folder. Well, let's just go ahead and check. I'll go ahead and take HUD animations, I guess. And we'll compare that to what we have in our old source mods folder for this. You can also do a throughway comparison and also do folder comparisons as well. Let's say HUD animations, I think I said it was. Alright, so here you can see that we have the two files here. And the files don't actually have any differences between them. As you can see, there's nothing in the margins or anything over here that indicates that. Like, for example, if you come over here and do this, it creates a thing you can see here, a little line that indicates that there's a difference between this file and this file. And then you can change to either, or choose to either prepend the change. In other words, take the line that's different and put it in front of the line in the other file, append it, put it behind it, or to replace it, or to delete this one from this file. So, for example, that was deleting. We choose to do the default, which is replace. It replaces the line over here, as you can see, with what was in here. If we want to do prepend, we just adds another one there, and same thing with append, except underneath it. It's a very versatile and powerful piece of software. Now, if we go somewhere where there might be more changes, for example, if we go to D, My Mods, let's choose a file here. How about BeamDraw CPP? No, don't want to save any changes. I'll do the same over here, except we'll go to the old testbed code here. Server BeamDraw. I think it was over here. Maybe it was on client. Yeah, there it is. Alright, so here you can see now we have several changes all throughout the file. And it shows them, shows where the changes are with highlighting. And you basically scroll through the file and can put things back in or move them around. It's very handy for doing things like this, where you have code, two versions of code where they're pretty much the same, but you've added things in that are not present in the new code, and you can then just merge your old code into that new code. You do have to be careful with this though, because it is possible to overwrite. Like putting in this line of code here would probably cause a bug or something, because it's done in a much different way over here in terms of just how the formatting is. Although I don't think that's a particularly good example. A better example might be this here, because this was removed. So if you put this back over here, you end up getting some sort of I guess you end up putting this back here and removing, or at least adding back in some maybe some efficiency destroying code or something that was changed when they essentially loaded the render mode up into here, instead of having it in a whole separate process. This is a pretty good program. It's actually the only one I've found so far, or the only one that I know of that does this kind of work, or at least that I knew of back between 2006 and 2009, when I was actually using it actively on GORO. But I went through and added in all the code that I had added to the previous mod source code, and found a couple problems, specifically that the new view model base view model code that deals with the camera placement is actually incompatible with the Iron Sights mode, or Iron Sights mod that I put in here from Zeki. So I actually just took the old viewer base model code and stuck it into 2013, and it actually worked. So there wasn't anything programmatically wrong with it. They might have just changed it to better fit, and to make it smaller, or maybe make it work a bit better. There may be some problems though that I've not run into yet that will be caused by that, but for the time being, there's nothing that I have been able to find that's been broken because of that. So we got that in, fixed that Iron Sights issue. Of course, now that the footage has been deleted for it, you won't be able to see that what the problem was. It was actually the camera was not being positioned correctly, or the weapon wasn't being positioned correctly, or something. But the view model would be put somewhere else in the map where you could actually see it if you went around looking for it, and I actually was able to find it, and you could watch yourself shooting things. It's actually kind of hilarious. We got that fixed. I also had to fix the overheating system, because it wasn't actually working for some weapons due to the fact that I had forgotten about how certain weapons were used in terms of what classes they interacted with, like base HL machine gun, I think is the class, what the class name is used for firing mechanisms for the AR-2 and SMG-1. They don't use the base primary class within the actual weapon file itself. So I had to go figure that all out again. But for the most part, the code went over smoothly. I did have to recreate some bits of it, because over the months I'd actually lost some changes. I have no clue how that happened, but like, for example, the upgrades item for giving you upgrade parts to upgrade your suit with, that actually was not in the this code here. I couldn't find it anywhere, so I had to recreate it from memory, and looking at other functions that had been used in conjunction with that to recreate it. So it was a little fun and hair-ripping out experience, but eventually we got everything working again. And I also went ahead and got the Valve Batch compile tool. This is an awesome program. It works much, 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 much better than Valve's own Hammer ported, I guess you could say, or Hammer routed routing for the tools, because for one, this doesn't freeze when you try to compile something, and two, it actually compiles things a little bit faster. Just a little bit, though. I don't think there's really that much of a difference, but it is a little bit faster. One thing, let me see, let's go, okay. That shouldn't matter at all, though. Alright. One thing that kind of threw me off about the Source SDK 2013 is that Valve's kind of moved towards this whole thing where, you know, you have to build everything yourself instead of having an actual tool base to base off of. Like, for example, the old Source SDK application, they're actually going to be doing away with that, and they're going to be requiring you to actually build the things yourselves, or at least for the time being. And I thought that was kind of interesting, because I don't really understand why they would do that for. If the old Source SDK wasn't working properly or causing problems, you just go in and fix the problems. You don't say, okay, we're not going to do this anymore, and just say, you know, shove off to the actual I guess tool set itself. The ease at which the Source SDK application allowed people to get into being able to mod something. Like, not a lot of people, I shouldn't say not a lot of people, but some people that made mods with the Source SDK tool, or application, I guess you can call it, aren't going to be able to do those make mods now, because they're not going to be able to compile their own, actually compile the Source SDK itself. But I guess that means that you'd have a little bit higher quality mods too, but whatever. So, the first thing that we went into last time when I was doing this was the actual crystal test, if you will. The testing of my crystal textures that I had created to replace that huge rainbow of doom that I had in the last developer's vlog, or last update for the directory system. I'd mentioned that I was probably going to do something with crystals, something like put in walls or in some sort of holding device or whatever, to be able to, tell players where certain rooms were. Well, this is the fruit of that, I guess you could say. These kind of crystal-looking objects with crystal textures. One thing I found was that the self-illumination doesn't work that well with textures that are opaque or transparent, I guess. Whichever. I guess it's transparent. Opaque means that it's hard to see through, or like this is opaque because you can't see through it. These are transparent, kind of ish. But yeah, that the self lighting doesn't really work with transparent textures. So these don't really cast that much of a glow. So I'm probably going to have to include light entities to with light. Is it target infos, light infos? I think light infos that will tell the light entities to cast their light from these objects to create the self-illumination. But in brighter rooms, you can't really tell that they're casting light themselves. Well, rather, they don't look like they're casting light themselves, regardless, I guess. It's just you can only see the light that they're giving off that hits the other surfaces, not their self-illumination. And you'll see what I mean now once we get into that. The game, and you can see what's going on there. One thing with the Source SDK 2013, at least with the build that I haven't actually rebuilt it, or even checked to see if this was fixed or not, was that you actually have to have DX9 enabled. DX11 will actually cause the textures to have a really crappy quality to them, no matter what. and the only way to deal with that is to enable DX9. Although I think even that's kind of broken because there are some weapon textures that are just totally messed up, I believe. You'll be able to see what I'm talking about, again, when we get into the game. But I just created this little test map to test out these things, and we'll go take a look at them in a bit. I'm going to show you the actual crystal directory system that I have going on now. And, well, I guess it's only in the first map here. So, I was actually trying to debug a problem I was trying to have getting things compiled, because for whatever reason what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to put some lighting in here, and trying to do it kind of artistically, if you will. Get the make this so it's not so much square, but I'll probably come back there and do what I did with one of the underground Combine maps, which was just to do like a tunnel thing and have it kind of ringed with soft lighting textures. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this stuff because it's just totally messed up. One thing that I did add was these, to actually round off these. I thought it just looked kind of really visually interesting to have them rounded off instead of flat. Because when you look at them like this, you know, they look okay, but when you get this rounded thing on the bottom, it kind of gives it a little, I don't know what, it just looks really interesting to me, architecturally. I thought that would work really well here. Even though the Combine are supposed to be more about jagged, sharp edges, sending a little bit more roundedness to these kind of really changed how they look overall. So we're going to be adding those to everything. These are func detailed, so I'll have to drop it back out to the... God, it's all... Alright, so we actually have to unhook all these individually, which sucks. I was trying to do this whole thing with, you know, rounding off, like I said, rounding off this this passageway here, but it didn't really work out very well due to the angles at which these walls are meeting at. So, it's causing all kinds of problems. And Hammer they still haven't fixed that problem with Hammer, where it's doesn't save the files correctly in reference to the vertex points. Somebody had mentioned a long time ago when I had asked about this propensity of Hammer to just totally screw up vertex points. That if your vertex points are not on a you know, an actual, I think, whole number or something like that, if they're off like on a decimal point kind of thing where you have one, you know, like it's at a position of x 1.59 whatever, that Hammer will actually change the vertex point position, so that's in a position that's actually on a specific I don't know, kind of thing. I don't really know exactly the specifics, but it was essentially that the way that Hammer saved the file and the way that Hammer operates the vertex points are in conflict, and so that's what causes this whole problem to happen. And it just strikes me that Valve would never fix that. If it's such, and this to me is a really kind of tool-breaking bug. The tool should be able to save a file, or save whatever it's designed to create, and open it in the same state that it saved it without any differences. That obviously is not the case with Hammer, and they should be, you know, focus on fixing that, because that is a serious problem if you ask me. But let's go ahead and retie this to a func detail. We'll go ahead and get rid of all this stuff. So if you're listening to this Valve, which I doubt, but just on the slim chance that somebody from Valve is listening to this vlog or watching it, you really should consider fixing that bug. So it is the bane of a lot of mappers' existence, at least the ones like me that use the vertex editor for trying to do lots of interesting and cool things, instead of relying on just cutting brushes into pieces, actually molding them into shapes. So I'm getting sick and tired of having to cut things into triangles so Hammer won't screw them up when it loads them. Of course, doing that with these is not really possible because they're too small and oddly shaped. Alright, get rid of those, and we'll figure out what to do with this later. That should also help us get this map compiled now. Let's go ahead and turn off the coordinate tool. Alright, so as you can see, we got rid of all that crazy crap, so the map also loads a lot faster now because we don't have to funk detail all the walls. So here are the crystals. Again, they're still color-coded, and we're actually placing them in the order, or at least in the positions of where the rooms are in relation to each other. So in other words, the red one here goes to this room, this white one goes down here, the orange one's over here, the green one's here, and then this purple one's up here. So they're kind of in the order that the rooms are positioned over here. Same with these. And instead we just have these, and they go out to the walls here. And then we just have them lined up vertically on the walls in which you follow them to keep going through to find the places they go to. One stop, then you get the one here, and you can follow this down here, and then there's that one, and here you are in the room. Same with this one, there's a white crystal here. Just follow it down this way. You get another one all the way down here at the end of this hall, and takes you to this room. The amount of light they cast is dependent on the amount of light that's actually being put out by other areas. Like for example in here you can hardly see some of them because there's so much light being put off by these things. I'm still trying to figure out the best light level to use for those. They're just so overbearing too because they're so huge. The texture areas are so huge that they just cast off light like you wouldn't believe. But what we're going to do here now is I'm going to go ahead and compile this map. I'm actually going to change some light values real quick. Let's see. Is it not G8? I think I changed some of these. Yes. That's right. I put it on 2. I'd forgotten that. Source mods is on G6. Alright. So, 2013, the lights.rad. Get open in TextPad here. I believe this texture is white 3. Yes. So white 3, we have it set to 4. Let's set it down to 2. We'll see how that works out. Alright, we'll save this. And what I'm going to do now is we're going to load it into the Valve Batch Compile tool. So you just go to the open file, and you go to wherever your map is saved at. So in this case, map SRC. In progress latest, chapter 9, mothership. Then you choose your options here. I want to make sure you do that all the time, so you get both LDR and HDR. These here allow you to do cloud-based compiling for VVIS and VRAD if you have it set up properly. So we're going to go ahead and go on full, which we have selected, and you just click on it and it will start compiling. So the problem I was having was that those white things I deleted earlier that were going around the edges of that tunneled area were causing a leak to happen, even though there was no possible way that they could be leaking. They were just causing leaks, and I'm not sure why. even with the cordon tool on, they were still causing leaks. And it's just, you know, kind of annoying with that. As you can see, it's not freezing up or anything. It's still processing. It's just taking a hugely long time because this map is so huge. So while we're waiting for this to happen, I'm going to go ahead and stop recording, and we'll start up again once this finishes, because this is going to take, I believe, 14 to 15 minutes, if I recall correctly. So, go ahead and stop recording for that time, and we'll be back. Alright, so it's a little while later than however long I had anticipated it to be, because I had some problems getting the map compiled. So I was getting stuck on Vivus, just sitting on 10, spinning for 30 minutes, 45 minutes. I tried going through it twice, and we're having problems. And I'll show you how I fixed the problem once this finishes building here. But right now we're waiting for VRAD to finish. Getting close there. And gotta do the final light face and ambient leaf processing here, and it should be finished. Leaf ambient, that's what it is. Or is that what it said? I thought it said ambient leaf. Maybe I said leaf ambient. But, 97, holy crap. Alright, finished. So that's a lot better, especially for Vivus. So what was going on was, I was trying to get this damn thing to compile. It was taking forever, and then we had this leak related to the change I made. It was taking forever, so I went online, looked up some stuff, and found a very old guide, I guess you could say, more of like a briefing or something like that, on how Vivus treats certain things. It's been up on various things. Interlopers, I think, mirrored it over on their website, but it used to be, it belonged to a different website originally. I think it was actually also linked to, in this, arvinhorn .ruhosting.nl. That's where it originally was at, I believe. Yeah, that's what I thought. And I was thinking about it, and I was seeing this, and I saw this, and I'm thinking, well, maybe we can just do something like this that would work, as opposed to doing the whole thing that I had before. So I went through in the map, and I just took out that huge skybox, and I replaced it with this. Now, it might not look like much right at the moment, but if I go in here, you'll see how it works. Now, essentially what I did was, we just took these walls, or I took the walls, vertex edited the top edges up fairly far, then cut off at the, this segment right here. Just cut them off there, and then retextured the inside as a skybox. So instead of having the whole thing around, we're only using, since we have this part at the moment, it's the only one that sees out into whatever's out here, we just have this small space done, and that one change made Vivus go from like a 45-minute not finished compiling thing to taking 1 second, as you saw earlier, to finish compiling. So that's pretty dramatic. But we're going to go ahead and get into the game now and see how it looks. So I'm going to stop recording, and we will start again once we get the thing going here. Thought I'd show you the whole intro here. I actually edited in our own intro into it. The audio screws up though, as you'll see. So I'll have to figure that out. But it's just using Beck's own I think actually it's Rad's own tools for editing Bink files. So as you can see, we have the game loading up in testbed code here, or rather Source SDK 2013 code. And this is all messed up at the moment because we have to re-add that all in. So map C mothership. You can see the crystals there. They cast light, but the self-illumination is only from the casted light. They don't actually glow themselves, but they are giving off light. So let's go ahead and actually build the cube maps here. We'll do 6 bounces. Alright. So, here we are. Let's go have a look around now. The hallway's looking a bit more like it did previously. Now we got the psychedelic multicolored things out of there. Okay, I'm liking this already. Oh wow, you can actually see kind of the things around there. What the hell? You can see the edges. What's with that? Well, this light level is awesome. At 2. Granted, these things look brighter than they should for the light level, but that's actually a good thing. Don't ask me why, but it looks kind of awesome. As you can see, though, you can also see the glows now much better than before. They are all glowing. Of course, the reason some of these weren't glowing was also because they were too far into the walls. Before, I think these two and some of these were the only ones that you could really see in here that were glowing. And I went back through after I'd recorded all that and pulled some of these out and got them to show properly. But let's go ahead and have a little look around. And again, that's in the footage that I had to delete because it was no good, or rather, the Matroska files got corrupted. And as I mentioned before, there's not really much lighting going on in a lot of these areas just yet. On the other side, I started adding in these things all around, but back over in here now, it's a pretty bright one. And again, they got one down there that you can see. And you got this one on the edge here. Let's go ahead and get our things up in here. Weapons and whatnot. And we got another one down at the other far end. I've got to realign some of these things, as you can see. You got one way down there. Oh, well. Too bright. Damn. It's like blindish. Oh, I see. No wonder it was so bright. We're actually looking at an enhanced version of brightness. Now let's see what it looks like to look into the sun with a sniper scope. Alright, so we'll go ahead and head over this way. You know, Valve could make a game out of crossbow bolt skipping. I bet tons of people would buy it. It's one of my favorite pastimes, to sit in Half-Life 2 here and just shoot bolts in the walls and along the floor and see how far I can skip the bastards. As you can see now, we've got these all the way down here, and there's actually some an interesting corruption, I guess, of it, you could say, or an interesting version of it down here. When we hit down here and we have these areas where there's nothing that we can really, here's another section of this, it's only half of them, then we just do half of them. Makes sense, doesn't it? If you only have half of a hallway that you can put one through, you just do half of one. I literally just cut it in half. I mean, just quite literally. What I'm thinking about doing, though, with this is we're going to have this maybe turned around or something, or have this be whole instead of just halved, so we can have 2 light beams showing down. But like kind of like this, just leave it like that and not cut it in half. here's some more of that. The lighting, I think, works really well. It's very understated, if you will. It's not very... What the hell? Oh, that's right. I was like, we've actually got a no-draw the wall here that I'm using for spacing these out, and that's what's causing all this stuff here, as you can see. An invisible wall. We got a blue one there. And again, all these are color coded for specific areas. Like, for instance, red is for security, blue is for elevators. I'm actually thinking about maybe creating a way in which we have make a more realistic version of the decks, if you will, that have multiple elevators, but only one of them specifically will be the one that you will go to the next area. But you'll still have multiple elevators that will give them more of an impression that, you know, there's not just one. Well, what the hell? What the frick? This thing's missing something there. There's no top on it. No pointy end. It's missing the pointy end. The horror. And again, we go in there and just blank nothingness because I have no clue how we're going to do the lighting in here. But whatever it is, I can guarantee you it's going to be interesting. So as you can see, we've got our hallway of nothingness stuff here, or rather, these struts here. Actually, kind of gives you a nice Hall of Mirrors effect. Not the actual Hall of Mirrors like you saw back over there, but like just kind of a never-ending hallway kind of effect. That makes it seem like it stretches on forever and ever. Once we get these textured up properly, they'll probably look pretty cool, and we get those roundy bits down on there, it'll probably look pretty interesting. I'll probably also add some more detail on these as well, maybe something in between these arches that'll kind of like go this way or something. Some more artistic kind of stuff. Here's another one of those. And some more hallway struts. Because you can never have enough. And we continue our halving of them here as well. Got 2 here because there's a whole huge area in here. Actually 3. So that's kind of what this is going to look like. There'll be more lighting around in these areas, obviously, but overall that's kind of what the lighting's going to look like. It's just going to be from these things. Textured base lighting. Like I mentioned on the... Oh wait, it's back here, huh? These things. Yeah, so look at how awesome those look now. It kind of gives them more contrast, if you will, to the way that these look. Like if you look at this, it's all kind of, you know, just straight down, on straight and narrow, similar theme and all that. But when you look at these, there's more. It just looks more visually interesting when you look at these, because you don't expect something like this. You expect this, you know, with Combine architecture. You don't expect something like this where it's more kind of awesome, I guess you could say. It's just amazing how much the little bit that you add there just adds to these things. And that's the only thing that's really changed, is just that this round bit was added. It just makes it look much more interesting. Of course, now I'm just rambling about it, but you can sit down in the comments whether you agree with me or not. But I think it looks more interesting compared to these. And that's why I did it. I had the idea when I was putting in those godforsaken things, wherever those things were, the lighting strips. I saw the wireframe outline around this, something. Wait a second, that looks kind of cool. Let's try that. And that's what resulted. It just makes it gives it more of an artistic kind of look. That's really all that's lit up, and really all that is there's to show. It's just these things, those there, and the stuff out in here. Not much really to show. Most of this, the time I've spent on CI so far has been about getting the code working properly, and also then getting the maps to start compiling. I've been spending the last week and a half trying to get this map to compile properly, and finally got to do so tonight. So I'll probably start on mapping binge spree, all out insanity this week, and we'll get a lot of work done to make up for all the lost time. I'm planning on getting at least 5 maps into the update this time around. It's going to be the this map, obviously, and wow, this is bright. Deck 9, which I'm going to be creating later on, probably tomorrow. And it'll be going to Deck 9 from this one. I've decided to change a little bit how this is going to go. Before, you went from here to Deck 8 to Deck 7, but I'm going to say that in the way that things are going to happen, there's going to be maybe some sort of problem on Deck 7 that you're not going to be allowed to go up there until you go down through Deck 9. Maybe there's like a security breach or something or whatever that locks down the elevator, so you can't progress up to that floor. You can only go down. But then you can go unlock, release the lockdown. Kind of like in the first underground Combine underground map, where you have that huge area that you go into where they have locked it down. You have to undo the lockdown commands, if you will. Something similar to that, not exactly like that, but something similar in theme to that, to get up to the 8th deck, or rather 7th deck. But that's going to be all we're going to do for right now for the map, for this little recording thing from the game. We're going to go back and do some more mapping now. Well, first I guess I'll show off the other stuff that is now working, or is working. Get the overheat down there. I need to re-add the cooldown that seems to have disappeared, or is not showing up anymore. I'll need to re-add that. Shotgun takes the longest to cool down. There it goes. And we got this back in. Like I said before, this wasn't really working very well. But now it is. What else is there to show? I actually haven't tested the task list yet. Let's go load up one of the other maps and see. What the hell? Wow, the console is not opening. That's interesting. What's up with that? Keyboard, advanced. That is very interesting. Let me quit and then I'll restart and we'll see what happens. Alright, let's see. Map, CID. I should go, yeah, what's the name of that thing? NP. There we go, okay. NPZ floor 3, I guess we'll do. I think I have it enabled there. And lag and all sorts of stuff. Well, apparently Nox is not showing up there. Could've sworn I did. Well, let's try floor 4. Of course, it could also mean that's just not working. That's not working, I don't think. it doesn't seem to be working. No. So I'll have to figure out why that's not working now. The Uber crossbow. Gotta kill bunches of people. I'm gonna do a bounce shot on this one if Alex doesn't kill him first. Yeah, take that. Blue-suited bastard. This thing is really overpowered, this crossbow. Again, you're hurling pieces of steel at like crazy speed, so I guess it makes sense that they'd be overpowered. But yeah, I guess we'll have to figure out what the hell's going on with it and try and fix it. So it's not working. Maybe, I think I might have to add, I don't know, what wouldn't be working now? Everything else seems to work, so why wouldn't that be working? Maybe the, VGUI stuff that it uses is just not the same anymore, or maybe it's just... Ouch, I took no damage. Cool. Well, rather, shield and armor took the damage. Of course, they immediately misspelled, I believe. Aha! Out of the way, Alex. I'm doing serious business here. Serious MIT business.
Ammunition depleted.
But this could be for a number of reasons why it's not working. I'm not going to fix it on the video. Well, maybe I will, but just not this one. I might record some more later on this week. But yeah, so that's just one more thing I'll have to remember to check out. So we're going to go ahead and stop recording and get back out to Hammer and do some mapping. And then go ahead and stop recording for today. So we are back. Alright, so we're back out here. And let's go ahead and load up one of our other maps here so we can do a little work on it. Actually, no, we'll do work on this one. What I want to do is we want to add some more of this lighting around. We want to get it put into all the areas that need it. I have no clue where we're at, actually. Okay, so we want to go down this hallway here, I think. It's probably the best place to start at. So, let's see, there should be one of these. At least I thought there was one that I had that was not, that was that side of this here. Maybe not, though. So, let's go ahead and grab that. Need that for spacing. Bring it over here and we'll rotate it by 90. Okay. So now we need to get one of these selected. First, let's do something else before we do that, which is to get these little circular thing pieces and put them on everything else before we make any more of these things, because it's going to take quite a while to do it anyway. Put them on what we have now without having to add more to it later. So these are just pretty simple. You just line them up and you're good to go. Of course, I guess we should make sure that they're lined up properly. Yep, looks like they are. All on the grid and whatnot. So we'll just take these and copy paste them around. Again, I think this just add a nice little look to them, make them look a little different, add a little more variety to the style, rather than just having everything be straight down. Have a little bit of curved section, a little more detail. Really inexpensive detail at that. One thing I like to do when I'm working on things like this, where you need to have a lot of copying going on, is you just take whatever you need and you break it down into basic pieces. Like for this, for instance, we essentially have one of these, and then we group it into a section of 2, and then we group it into a section of 4, and then keep going as much as you need to, as many sections as you need, exponentially, or rather maybe to a power of 2. For example, if we had some other way of using these, and we need to put more, another 4 in, then we just take those 4 that we already have, copy them, and then group them. And that way, that if we ever need to ungroup them and use only either a specific number or a specific one, you don't have to go through and reselect all the different pieces of a object that you have created. You can just ungroup them until you get the number of sections that you need. Just helps speed things up. Now I can go back over here. And select these 2 and regroup them. We'll have our 4 again. Mapping is really kind of a boring thing. Repetition, long periods of time bashing your head into a wall trying to think of new and exciting things to do. Trying not to throw your computer out the window when Hammer decides to crash and you lose 2 hours of work. The basic stuff. The one bad thing about this is that we'll have to go through and select each one of these groups once we're done adding them, because they aren't all connected. And then we'll be able to add them to the func details for these struts here. So, while we're working on this, let's talk about Space Crusades. That's the other project that I've been working on a lot lately. Actually, Space Crusade's been using up a little bit of CI's time as well. Not on purpose, but just out of what's going on with it. But I'm in the process of doing essentially build versions, if you will. Versions of the game that are based on a build that contains new stuff and all that. We're not doing major versions, but essentially minor versions for the moment. And what I've been doing is I've just been having a build every so many weeks for the past, ever since I released 0.5a. So I guess that was in February or something. So what I've been doing is actually having essentially you have a week. The first one I gave a week in between the build, the previous release and the new build release. Then I added a week onto that, so 2 weeks and 3 and 4. Just got done with the 3